because you're always stressed out. Maybe it's because that's the only good thing in your afternoon. And then you have to come up with solutions to these obstacles. But having this true belief in yourself is a way to get around that. Goal setting is one of the things that helped him as well. He set his specific goals. So whenever someone gets a Turbulence training manual, we have a section in there about goal setting. We have a little bit of information in there. And I asked them to set 3 short-term goals and 3 long-term goals. And so the short-term goals could be 4 weeks long. Long-term goals maybe 12 weeks or even longer than that. And we also asked them to set outcome goals and process goals. So outcome goals are the simple ones that we tend to think of. I want to lose 20 pounds in 12 weeks. But the process goals are what get you there and are often more important than the outcome goals. Because the process goals are, my goal is to do 3 workouts per week for the next 3 weeks. My other process goal is to make sure that every Sunday I set aside 2 hours to plan, shop, and prepare. Those are the process goals, and those are the things that get you to the outcome and may even be more important. So we have them set the 3 short-term and 3 long-term, and we're going to take a break in a second, but perhaps that might be something worthwhile for you to do is just while we take a break is for you to go through and set some short-term and long-term goals, no matter what aspect of life that we're talking about. All right, so that's it for my first talk. So we'll get Brad up next. And we'll take a little stretch break if you need it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Ballantyne. So Craig and I are very different people, but we share a very similar philosophy. And what you're going to find is the slides and the handouts I've given you they're fairly science heavy. But it's really not the point of today's talk. What I want to get across to you today is that when it comes down to weight loss, it's all about food, but it has nothing to do with food. And it really comes down to, it's just like training and making a transformation. A lot of it is psychology, a lot of it is mental, and a lot of it is how you think of yourself. So just to give you a quick introduction, my name is Brad Pilon, and I do help people lose weight. It's kind of my niche, it's what I do. I used to think that I did this through science, that it was my understanding of science, my background of being literally a science junkie that helped people. But it turns out it's not really what I'm doing. I'm actually helping people with their relationship with food. If you kind of think about it, kind of makes me the food love guru. And I was going to put up Dr. Phil, but seeing as we're in Canada, this makes a bit more sense. This is not just a psych egg, though. This is very, very true. What I've found with Eat, Stop, Eat, and the book has been out for a little over 2 years now, and from the feedback I've received, it has a lot more to do with helping people understand their relationship with food than it does with any scientific pathway about growth hormone or heat shock proteins or anything like that, where we're just talking about how we view food. Because food is a tricky person to have a relationship with. Very demanding, lots of drama. I mean, it gets to the point where you look around and the way people eat with their food, you sit there going, wow, you're just staying together for the kids because you guys hate each other. Like it's that bad. So the goal for today, break down the walls that are preventing us from reaching our goals. It's really important that we all recognize right now that each and every one of us, our bodies are perfectly capable of burning fat. They know how to do it. They've known how to do it since the day you were born. In fact, for the first couple weeks of your life, you were mostly burning fat as a fuel. I mean, it's innate. We know how to do it. The block, the thing that's stopping us, is in our minds. They're mental roadblocks. And they're not really our fault. We are bombarded with nutrition information. So what we're going to do for this first half is going to be painful. It's going to hurt a bit. We're going to tear down the walls that are preventing us from getting the results we want or preventing us from helping people get the results they want. This isn't going to be fun because I'm probably going to be challenging at least 1 or 2 things you probably believe to be very true. We need to do this because in the second half we're building back up. And I'm going to show you just how simple weight loss can be when you get rid of these walls. Okay, so we're going to talk about the myth of the perfect diet. This is what we're all trying to attain, is the perfect diet. It's the main thing in the media right now. It's goals, it's tricks, things that you're probably doing wrong that some celebrity is doing right, and that's why they're lean and you're not. Personally, I think it's probably because, well, they make millions of dollars looking great, and most of us have jobs that we have to do, and not just sitting around. But to the magazines, it's that one little change. I don't know, what's it this week? Goji? a sea berry, something that they're doing that we're not, we should try, and it'll be the miracle. There's lots wrong with the perfect diet. The main thing is we've been led to think it's something we should all strive to attain, but it's impossible. It's a moving target. It moves depending on the latest fads, the latest trends. Just think back through the last 20 years and what's good and what's bad, and how they've flip-flopped all over the place. If you spend your life trying to attain a perfect diet, you're setting yourself up for failure. And if you set yourself up for failure constantly, it plays a lot of mind games with you. So let's go through. These are some of the general ideas of a perfect diet. I mean, if you just look at them, it makes sense, right? None of them are wrong per se, but let's walk through them. 6 meals per day as an absolute must. Well, if hopefully you've read my book and realize that I don't agree with that. Always eat breakfast. Well, there's a fair amount of research saying that's probably not needed either. Never eat late at night. That one kind of sucks if you're a shift worker. I mean, or from Italy, Spain, or Portugal when dinner's at 10. Lots of fruits and vegetables. Interesting one. So raw food people would tell you that it has to be raw fruits and vegetables. People who follow the macrobiotics diet would tell you raw fruits and vegetables, they cause cancer. You have to eat cooked fruits and vegetables. Fruitarians would tell you, well, it should only be fruit, not vegetables. And then Atkins would probably say, well, vegetables in certain phases, 1 through 1A and 1D, but only on Tuesdays, and never touch the fruit. Protein in every meal makes sense. Vegans, vegetarians may have a different view of what that protein should be and how much it should be. There are a group of people who believe that high-protein diets cause cancer. I mean, that's another one that we take as given. That may not be. Organic. Right now, organic is the king. It'll only be a matter of time before people start questioning the safety of organic food and questioning whether or not it's an essential part of a perfect diet. Only the right fats. Well, I mean, right now, EPA and DHA fish oil, perfect, right? That's great. Only if you think about it, if you're pregnant, and since EPA increases blood thinness and it increases risk of hemorrhage possibly, so it's situational, right? What is perfect for you at a certain time in your life may not be perfect at another time. Again, moving target. No dairy. Is it lots of dairy? Is it only some types of dairy? Is it no dairy unless it's in a powder called whey or casein? I mean, the dairy thing is constantly up for debate. Lots of nuts, seeds, and legumes, or depending on how you're talking to, they may also cause cancer, and heaven forbid you have a peanut allergy. It's probably not the best advice you could give somebody. And then let's not even get started about special ingredients. I mean, it changes weekly. Chia seed, fenugreek, goji, acea, hoodia, you name it. Whatever special ingredient is the thing you have to be eating. I'm waiting for chocolate and Nutella to hit that list, and I will be rocking, let me tell you. So it's moving. None of these are wrong, and that's the thing I want to make sure. If you're following any of these and it's working for you, it's not wrong. What's wrong is the people pretending that there's an absolute reason why it must be true. So nothing wrong with them, just understand there's different opinions, and it's a moving target, and you're never going to attain a perfect diet. The truth is, we're looking at something that's mostly made up by marketing. The idea of a perfect diet is beautifully, beautifully marketable. It makes for amazing advertising. What started off as mostly a supplement thing in the early 90s, really hammering you, constantly bombarding you about the idea of you are what you eat. And it was started with fat burners and protein powders. Well, in about 2000, early 2000, we woke a sleeping giant. And the food industry now realizes, well, if we tell people eating our food makes them feel better, look good, get stronger, that's more money. And if you break it down to the way the industries work, you really only have a couple of options as ways to make money if you're a food company. Because you're already getting your product fairly cheap, and you're selling it at whatever the market will bear. There's not a lot of room there. So the only options you have is to sell it to more people or get the same people to eat it more often. So now, tuna for energy, eggs for energy, carbohydrates for energy, energy drinks. It just goes on and on. The meat people are arguing with the chicken people over whose protein is better. They constantly the meat people don't want vegetarians. Vegetarians want you to cut back on the meat and eat more vegetables so that they can produce more produce and more business for farmers. It becomes a marketing tool, and this is where we're getting confused, and this is where it's really starting to hurt us. So let's take a different view, because this is a very North American view. It's a view that there's only one way to eat, and it's kind of centralized around the USA and Canada.